really real, no, this is not for play. I see you and you see me, you wanna ride the wave. I can spot you from a mile away. Tap the gas and I'm gone, this is not a race. I just bought some racks in. What's happening? It's just me, my guys, don't got no rap friends. You ain't see the front, but talking back ends. Oh, I see the money, whoa, pick and roll, give and go. I see the money, whoa, pick and roll, give and go. I see the money, whoa, pick and roll, give and go. I see the money, whoa, pick and roll, give and go. Oh my God, 3 cars, 5 jobs, slam door, off the law. Shorty said she got the wap, I just want the walk. Posted money on the snap, that'll get you robbed. Nike tech, shot wet, 3 dice bet, head crack flex. This is not a question, I don't ever practice, never act in, always act in. Back in 2010, we were sipping activists.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Spot Real Talk. My name is Tiara.
I'm Luana.
I'm Tiffany.
And I'm Ron.
And today we are here to talk about the Godfather of Harlem. This is season 2, episode 8, titled 10 Harlems. So if you guys hang tight, we'll be right back with you.
Louisiana where the last one burnt you, know that ain't cool. Wanna show you how I'm nothing like him, swear that's the truth. So you can't trust that
All right, everybody, we are back. Like I said, we are talking Godfather of Harlem. This week's episode was fire. I don't think I could have predicted some of the stuff that went down this week. What did you guys think?
Oh, it was lit. And I was going to say to you guys off camera, since we're on, Method Man, treacherous. Sam. But yeah. I'm saying Method Man because all of his characters are treacherous. Because if you remember The Wire, he portrayed his uncle in The Wire too.
And then on Power, he was the shady lawyer.
He's a shady lawyer. So, Matt, what's up?
What's up with your character?
Yeah, Sam definitely got to get the hands this week.
Yeah, on both cheeks. He's got to get smacked. I honestly though, I was surprised. When they were sitting in that movie, I thought he was the only one that had Bumpy's back. And to see him just turncoat like that, I like Bumpy, man. What did he say? He says, I'm going to get rid of the crabs at the bottom of the barrel. And I'm like,
I tell you, that's when I saw how they were moving and going with the times up. So look at this, crabs in the barrel. This is always one.
Always.
Exactly.
I kind of felt like it was Matt because when he was going along with Bumpy, I heard that song in the back of my head. They smile in your face
all the time. They want to take
it. Oh man, why is it Sam Christian?
Yeah, he was definitely trying to take Bumpy's spot this week. And so like the whole arrangement with how it went down. First the Frenchman. So he made his parents telling Bumpy that, he needed up front because basically the Italians in Sicily, they don't trust him. And so I was like, okay, well, I mean, if they're establishing this new relationship, that seems, sensible that they would want their money up front, maybe. So then things start progressing, though. And so I'm like, well, the Italians, especially with Bonanno, he is like dead set on being against Bumpy. And he's like, he sees basically how they're moving and like they're trying to take our spot, so that he sees the whole, like anybody that's black as a threat to him.
Well, I thought Monsieur 98 might catch a bullet coming in there talking about he wants $8 million up front. I mean, that's nobody pays up front money. I mean, like that, that's crazy. You wouldn't expect that. So I'm sorry. I mean, I wouldn't.
He's the middleman. He's just the messenger.
Yeah, but you know what happens.
Apparently, so that's why I was like.
You know what happens to the messenger, right? People kill the messenger.
Right. I hear you.
So,
I mean,
given
the situation and the fact that the guy who makes the arrangement, I'm sorry, I can't think of his name, the one that the informant, you know, that might make them nervous too. So they're like, before we do all of this, give us the money up front. One, we need to trust you, and then we don't know what kind of heat you have on us. So before we do this deal, we're gonna get paid up front.
Yeah, and apparently since it's so much, like even the Italians were saying like 3,000 kilos, that's like way more than they've ever brought in. So it's like such a huge amount of drugs that it's like, I don't know, I would want my money too.
I don't know.
So I mean, I'm glad I seen how Bumpy maneuvered it in terms of even just getting the information, because he had to what's his name, Morgenthau this week.
Oh,
and he was basically trying to see if that offer was still on the table for him to get immunity. And he ended up finding out stuff that, you know, that was shady behind the scenes. That's how he found out about Sam in the first place. And so I just thought it was very like poignant, like how Bumpy can get that information and he can gauge behind the scenes like who he might suspect, because the things that were said in that room were only said amongst those people. So it was obvious that somebody had led.
He's always a few steps ahead.
Yeah,
but at the same, what was that, Luanda?
Perfect timing for him to go visit Morgenthau to get that information too.
But at the same time, that made it hot Bumpy, because Morgenthau knows all of his moves. And I'm like, oh, okay. So he sees that Bumpy is really trying to establish himself as like top of the food chain. So I'm like, that might be some heat coming for Bumpy, you know, since now Morgenthau's aware of his plans.
He's aware of everything.
Well, yeah.
Because you see, he was sweating Stella too.
Yeah, and had good reason. I like Bumpy's move though, because I think he felt like, you know, they were coming down on him. So he's like, I'm gonna get the jump before they do. So he tried to go back to Morgenthau and see what he had cooking. But he always had Frank. And see, Frank has been his boy, you know, a friend. And
yeah,
you know,
Costello.
Yeah. And I don't know why he didn't go to Frank first, you know, but you know, he did go and he found out, you know, exactly what he wanted to know. So as I said, I love Bumpy because he just has so many moves on that chessboard, and you never know where he is at any given point in time. I mean, he's just always thinking. So I love this episode because it had a lot of things going on, and it had some surprises, you know, those we don't typically see in most episodes. But, you know, I really enjoyed this one.
Right. And so something that I think I had kind of, you know, forgotten about, but it came back up this episode, was the fact that, you know, Chin, he actually killed Bonanno's son. And so now it's like, it's perfect timing that this comes back up, because we see Bonanno's whole motivation behind everything he's doing now. And so, you know, since the show has been on hiatus and like multiple seasons are, you know, in the bag now, sometimes you forget little details like that, but that's a huge one. And that's something that somebody, you killed their son, like they don't just let that go. And so I think that that's like a great addition to this season's storyline, and the fact that now Bonanno he's gunning for the whole commission, like everybody gotta go. He's like one person at the top of the food chain, one boss, that's it. There is no other families except for mine.
Well, you know, Malcolm X said it best: the chickens come home to roost. And you know, and as far as Vincent is concerned, that's exactly what he's going to get, and rightfully so.
But sorry, go ahead.
Now I'm gonna say, yeah, Bonanno, he wants the whole commission, but it's like twofold, because he gets to get at the blacks, as he says, Bumpy and them, and he gets to get back at Chin.
Yeah. But I guess the thing about it is that like Bumpy used that, like that was a great angle to come at Costello with in order to get the information he needed, because I think Costello realizes like there's always a trade-off. He wants to be loyal to the commission and the 5 families, but at the same time, when you have somebody in your commission gunning after you, you gotta, you know, give something to get something. And so Bumpy is like, I can help you with that. Just give me what I need.
Self-preservation, right? That's what everybody is kind of thinking.
Yep. Yeah, and so it's like that self-preservation that keeps coming up. because it's something that's like it comes with the game. I mean, you're trying to be loyal, but at the same time, you're trying to preserve your situation. So I think that's a theme that we're going to continue to see. And it's like a big motivator behind what everybody is doing to protect themselves and their families. And we kind of mentioned Stella as well. And I think she is just so careless this week.
She is
This week.
Having those
This
phone
week.
conversations.
all the episodes.
Well, this week, yeah, every week
Yeah,
she's
every
careless.
week. And
She's
to
using
not
me on a
know,
hands list too.
no, and to not know, or at least have some suspicion that your phone may be tapped. You know what your daddy does. You know who he is. You got to be smarter than that, Stella. I mean, if you're not, you know, whatever you get coming down the pike is all yours, and you deserve every bit of it. I don't understand how you. What's going on in her mind? Is she still that broken up about her past love? I mean, you got to get over this thing at some point, you know. Or, you know what? I had a pastor say one time, folk got to either get on with living or get on with dying, but don't hold everybody else up. Make up your mind. If you're going to go, Stella, go. You know, but you're creating havoc. You know, do something besides this crazy, mixed up, disoriented mindset that she keeps having at spurts, and she's causing everybody harm, or putting everybody in harm's way, or at least her family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I said that last week. Everybody around her is dying, and the thing about her is, what was foolish is, once you start talking to the feds,
Oh, it's over.
just because you decide you're not going to talk anymore does not mean it's a wrap, that they're going to just leave you alone. After you've been feeding them all this information all this time, now you just want them to go away because now you and your dad are okay.
Right.
I'm like, girl, you tripping.
I'm mad at her uncle for even allowing her to confess on the phone. Like, you're the adult here. Yeah. Come on, somebody got to have some sense.
You would think ultimately it's not like he'll be able to use it, but she's not gonna know that. You know what I mean? She just provided them with the perfect leverage. Now it's gonna be interesting to see how she handles that, and what will Ken do if he finds out? What kind of reaction is he gonna have? But yeah, Stella is problematic. She keeps creating these situations for herself and for her dad. It's interesting, it's dramatic, but it's also very stupid, very silly.
I question whether you use it or not, because if the courts allow the surveillance of Vincent's house and phone, it may be.
It's a confession to a priest. That's sacrilege. It was a confession to a priest, whether it was her.
But we can probably suspect that the priest himself is a little crooked too, you know, because A, he's a part of the family. B, I know that, you know, in confession. Can you make a confession on the phone like that to a priest? I don't know.
She was talking to a priest. You don't have to be in the booth. She made it. But that's not even the point, because now he has that leverage. He knows she did it, so he can always be like, well, I'll let the other families know they did it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm very interested to see where that goes, because I already thought that it was a sticky situation because she's a minor too. So apparently that don't matter.
She's gonna off herself if she doesn't get killed. She's gonna offer herself.
I would not be surprised. I think Stella is still in a very fragile state where, you know, anything could happen. And so, like, I wanted to jump back into this stuff with Bumpy and the crew, because the way that the episode, you know, ended with them eventually getting their revenge on Sam, that was just like genius.
Yeah,
the way he set that up. And I like how Nat finally came out and told Bumpy the truth. You know, he didn't have a choice, because Chance said, you gonna tell him or I'm gonna tell him. And so I hear Chance on that. I wasn't either saying that.
Well,
because at that point, you know, there was already somebody in the camp that had betrayed Bumpy, and he would know being in the dark anymore. And so, like Chance was saying, if you'll do a small betrayal, you'll do a big betrayal. And so if you want back in good with him, you gotta come clean. Well, and so he did. And how Bumpy handled that, Ron. We talked about this offline, but I don't think he could have handled it any better.
Well, no, and I got to give myself a pat on the back. I don't get all these predictions right all the time, but you know what? I got that one right. I knew he wouldn't kill him, but he did the next best thing. He said, okay, I'm not going to kill you, but you're going to put yourself in harm's way for me. And, you know, you do this, you're back in my place. And I thought that was a perfect way for Bumpy to handle it. And it also showed me how intelligent and how Bumpy just thinks. I mean, he's always out thinking his own next move. I mean, he's 2-3 moves ahead of himself. So, you know, it's just amazing to see him maneuver around this whole, you know, issue with gangs and how you deal with people and stuff like that. I really love the way he handles himself.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he really gave him pedigree. He told him they had this plan to send him in basically into the lion's den. He was like, "You gonna figure out who the rat is." Right. And so he was like, you know, sending me out that's like a suicide mission. And he was like, okay. And they're not going to believe that. And he was like, well, let's make it believable. Right. Yeah. And so he smacked them up real good. I mean, when he came up out the shadows with that bruised up eye.
Oh, yeah. That eye was looking bad too, man. I mean, not only was it black, it got a, you know, big old lump up under it. You know, he's going to need hospitalization for that eye, I believe. But you know what? Hey, he got a whooping. He took it. He did what he had to do.
And he deserved it for stealing.
Yeah, I agree.
And the crew, what's the called crew? They were kind of hit with anyway. We saw he was beat up.
Reggie,
they know Bumpy
and him coming, and he was like, "This is shady."
Yeah,
and shout out to ASAP Ferg.
That sounds great. He said, "Gotta shout out ASAP Ferg playing Reggie."
Yeah, but I mean that Shiner, and then him coming over there and talking about he wants to switch sides. I mean, the whole thing just seemed shady. And anybody that is a part of that world knows, like, okay, how stupid do you really think?
And they know he's loyal. Like he and Chance, they know that they're like Bumpy's right hands. And number two, Bumpy is not normally that merciful. And most people know that Bumpy would have taken him out. Yeah. And the fact that he came just beat up and everything, they're like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, but it makes you wonder if Nat should have suspected something. I guess thinking if I'm stealing and we're doing a little something on the side and nobody other than fine, but it should have probably been a big clue that if he's willing to double deal, you know, to do this side deal on Bumpy, that he's probably into something else as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He was just desperate, clearly, because he had his own gambling issues and stuff. He didn't think that through. That's why I think Bumpy, you know, basically gave him another chance, because it wasn't like he was deliberately trying to betray Bumpy. He thought he could put the money back. He was desperate. He wasn't like Sam, who like just blatantly betrayed.
It wasn't
it wasn't malicious. Sam was malicious, and he got what he got. He deserved what he got.
After that beatdown, I bet you Nat won't touch another piece of drugs.
If I were there,
again.
From no one, let alone Bumpy.
Exactly.
I think he cured that gambling thing he had. You know, it would have cured me if I got a beat down like that.
Yeah. But you know, it speaks very highly of Bumpy that everybody kind of like knows him, and they know that he would not make a stupid decision like that. And so even towards the end, where Meth is like, or I'm sorry, Sam, I gotta use his name for the show. Sam is like, I don't know, Bumpy, like, you always got something up your sleeve. You sure you ain't got no tricks? And so he's like, what am I gonna call the police?
Right.
And I like how Bumpy played that, because he definitely had something up his sleeve.
Yeah.
And I mean, he really blew them up, literally. So
you know, it's funny. I said to myself, I bet there's a bomb in there. That was the only thing that was, you know, it was kind of, okay, let me see how this, if I were writing the script, I'd have a bomb in there and it would blow up. And, you know, the only thing is it didn't kill them. You know, I guess he wanted to startle them so he can come in and kill them himself. But hey, I like it.
That scene was epic. All three of them just standing outside the cave, just waiting.
Yes.
I mean, and they had those big shotgun. I mean, the way they got hit, that was just like blowing holes through them. It sent a couple of them flying. So I was like, they was not playing no games.
But Sam came out last, and I'm thinking, what, he must not have been able to hear the gunfire.
Well, even if he did hear the gunfire, the smoke from whatever was set off in that cave, you can't stay in there and inhale that.
I would have taken
my chances. Death either way.
Take my chances, take my coat off, do something, hit the floor. I'd take my chances. I mean,
it didn't matter.
Well, you know what? It may not, but I would have covered my face, hit the floor. They may have gone and got him, won and got him anyways, but the way he came out.
I mean, he came out with his gun in hand. He couldn't see where he was shooting, but at least he put in the effort.
And plus, you see, Bumpy walked right up on him.
Yeah.
Make sure that he was out of there. So he wasn't gonna survive that anyway, because that type of betrayal,
sorry, Meth, but you deserve that one.
You deserve that, especially after they did that toast with the black economic nationalism and stuff. And I was like, oh, okay, they got a whole new Black Wall Street going on here, and lo and behold, they were some snakes.
I said, there's always one.
There's always one.
Yeah, that was, sad ending for him, but Bumpy's back on top. So I'm glad that Nat was able to repair his friendship with Bumpy. I still think that it's going to take some time for Bumpy to get over that, though, because that was major. He proved his loyalty to Bumpy, but
he on probation.
That's one you can't just let go.
Yeah, he on probation.
Yeah, exactly. And so I guess Bumpy bringing Mansoor 98 to the deal, I think that was the icing on top of the cake, because the way he went running to the Italians, he is crazy. I don't want to work with him.
And it made me wonder if that was a trap too.
I feel like it was, because he didn't really need him there.
Yeah, because he was there.
He wanted him to witness it.
Yeah.
Like, this is the cost of betrayal too.
Yeah, I kind of feel like that was a move on Bumpy too, because Chin and Bonanno looked like they were smirking over there like the Cheshire Cat and stuff. But I was like, I wouldn't put it past Bumpy to have set up that move too.
Right. Yeah, I really still think that this whole import of the drugs, I think that Bumpy and Costello might be working together to kind of sabotage that, and maybe getting the Frenchman, to see how he deals and run to the other side. I think that might be calculated on Bumpy's part.
Yeah, because I think he told Frank Costello that you may need me at some point to get back on, Bolano. So it looks like he might be trying to help set Frank up, to move up. So, which is a good thing. I mean, he's, another good move.
Yeah, I was very impressed with Bumpy this week, and I wanted to switch lanes a little bit and go into this Malcolm storyline, because that got crazy as well. And so basically, we see that Malcolm has landed himself on the front page of the news. He is basically had his house taken away from him, because technically it is owned by the Nation of Islam. And so they've taken his house, and he has fired by airing the prophet out. He is telling all of Elijah Muhammad's
and routing the field for the house too.
Yeah. So it's very public, very embarrassing for the prophet. And Malcolm was like, hey man, the truth is the truth.
Malcolm was like, no,
they keep trying to cover it as allegations and rumors, and he's just like, it is what you can call it what you want, but the truth is the truth. Yeah, and so of course that has landed him in some hot water with them. Old Captain Henry,
he is a
hater.
He and the sister at the mosque.
Yeah, Marnie.
I forgot her name. Sister Marnie is a hater too.
Yeah, they are, both of them.
Definitely.
But I'm glad that what's his name? Captain Omar. Yeah, I'm glad he was able to come in and kind of be a voice of reason, because the way that they initially introduced him, Malcolm was saying like, I don't know, you know, if they brought him in, this is going to escalate things. They wouldn't bring him in unless they were ready to
like
escalate the situation. Yeah, and so I was like, okay, is this guy a killer or what? And so then once we actually see him having conversations, he actually is very level-headed and reasonable and trying to, you know, tell Captain Henry to back down.
And I'm glad to see.
So I just thought that was interesting.
I'm glad to see that they had some relationship in the past, you know.
That's what I was going to say. That relationship helped too.
That helped a lot. And, you know, it kind of made me wonder, you know, if I forget the other guy's name that was sitting to the right with glasses, the one that always wants Malcolm X dead.
Oh, Henry.
Henry. You know, that's the one you got to watch, you know, because no matter what Omar says, you can see it on Henry's face. You know, he really doesn't care. He just wants him dead. And, you know, that would be interesting if
he's jealous. He's gonna hate him.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, sad, but I did see that. I did like the fact that Omar and Malcolm did come to some sort of consensus. I don't know. You know, because Malcolm didn't seem
agreement.
Well,
it seemed to me like Malcolm had settled on the fact that he was not going to live a long time, and he knew that something, regardless of what, you know, Captain Omar was saying, they were still going to be coming after his life, and he was basically just establishing that his family was off limits,
protecting his family.
I think he settled that.
I think he made the point. He kept making the point that he had worked in the organization. He had trained those men, so he knew what the protocol was, and so he knew if Brother Omar was coming, it would be basically up on his word whether or not they could move against him. And I think he found some solace in the assurance, but I think he also knew Captain, you know, he knew Brother Henry too. He knew those men. He knew what they were capable of. And I would think he would also know that they wouldn't let that grudge go as quickly, no matter what the minister said. So it was it's kind of weird what happened, but it's kind of a trip to see it play out, that he knew he was marked for death. He was just trying to protect his family.
You know, I thought about, because Blood Brothers, the documentary with Malcolm X and Muhammad Ali is airing on Netflix, and is airing at the Martha Vineyard African American Film Festival this week. Well, it just finished. And so I was like, man, I can't wait to see that when that comes out.
Yeah. And I don't know if y'all caught it too, but it seemed like Captain Omar was expressing some interest in Elise.
Hey.
And I was like, okay, is he serious, or is this a fishing expedition too? I was wondering, like, if he's trying to really do some fishing to see where her loyalties really lie. But I was like,
is he just trying to flatter her and so he can get some information? But
it looked to me like
Elise was like, no, thank you.
It looked to me he was very serious. I mean, the first thing, he took her out to lunch. He didn't have to. He just could have called her in a meeting. But he took her out to lunch, and it was the way he said it. Now, you could be right. You know, it could be a fishing expedition, but I kind of thought he's
a gentleman. So I'm not surprised he took her to lunch.
Yeah, well, I'm saying.
Yeah, I feel like
if you just want information, he didn't have to step out like that way. I think he wanted to get away from, you know, the area so he could ask what he wanted to ask. And so that was a good way of doing it. You know, he didn't want all this, you know, he didn't want to put his, you know, his story out in the, you know, with everybody else. He just wanted to ask her what he wanted to ask. But it was the way she answered him, because she brought up Malcolm very quickly. And
changed the subject.
I mean, literally changed the subject. And I was thinking, did he pick that up? You know.
Yeah, because I was like, man, she's bringing. I said she's gonna put some heat on herself, because I'm like, oh, her loyalty lies with him, and then she has a certain affection for Malcolm. Clearly,
yes,
she loves Malcolm.
Yes, she does. And I thought to myself,
it was very clear too.
Yeah, because Malcolm told her, you got to watch out for Captain Omar, because he'll come after you too. So it was just interesting how she was just so willing and freely bringing up Malcolm in a conversation like that. So it'll be interesting to see what happens next.
What I'm always curious about with her character is she afforded another level of protection just because she's Bumpy Johnson's daughter, and they know whether or not they do anything to her because of her relationship with Malcolm, they still have to contend with Bumpy. And yeah, they are the Nation of Islam, they have their soldiers and their military, but so does Bumpy.
Yeah,
right. He has not as much power in Harlem as they do.
I don't know.
So I would think that someone would have to have more sense. Maybe they excommunicate her, but I don't think they might physically harm her, but what would be the repercussions of that? So I often wonder if she kind of knows that too. Be held to pay.
That's what I said. The hell be coming to breakfast if they do something to her.
Yeah, lunch and dinner.
Because yeah, and like you were saying, I mean, Bumpy is known in their area, and so it's not like he's just like some unknown gangster that's, you know, just behind the scenes. Like, people respect his name in the streets. He does a lot for the community. And so, I mean, even if Bumpy sends out the word to the community that, you know, these people did this to my daughter, like, then that brings reproach on their name too. So, I mean, that's a tough spot to be in. So I hope that they would tread lightly with Elise. But Brother Henry, he's out of control. I mean, he is liable to do anything and really not put a whole lot of thought into. For him, I think it's very personal.
No, I think so too. I think he's been jealous of him, because even when, you know, Malcolm came and he expressed contrite before and everything, he like totally misinterpreted Malcolm's words, his intentions, and everything to Elijah Muhammad. So,
but you got to remember, the Elijah Muhammad told Captain Omar that he wanted Malcolm to live and live through this and live a miserable, you know, and live miserably. So for Henry to be as, I don't know, so apt to want to take out Malcolm, he's treading water with his own life as well, because, you know, you don't go against the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's word. If Muhammad said, I want him to live, and he finds out that you had something to do with his death, that doesn't bode well for Brother Henry.
Yeah. Well, you know, there are books, and, you know, people have different sides of the story that says, of course, that's what they
right.
I was about to say.
That's what he said.
Yeah, well, you know, the story goes both ways, that he was marked for death, and in order for them to touch him, they knew it had to be sanctioned. Whatever was said publicly was said publicly. Right. But there's this idea for them to touch him, it had to be sanctioned at the highest level. So,
definitely.
I mean, only, you know, only God and those people who did know, really.
Yeah, I was gonna say, this wouldn't be the first time, even in this series, that we've seen Elijah Muhammad saying one thing but doing something different. And so, I mean, maybe he has his own relationship with Captain Henry, where he's like, I don't care what Omar talking about, we here.
The interesting thing about it, and, you know, we're looking at these characters, is all about power and control. People not only being able to dictate their own destiny, but then being able to dictate what other people do. And once you're in that power position, I think it becomes very addictive, and nobody wants to give it up. And it's almost like, once you're in a power position, then you're always watching behind your back for the next person that's coming after you, coming out your position. So we see it with Bumpy, we see it with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, we see it with the heads of the families, right? And you see the power dynamics even within the family. Malcolm and his, you know, and his wife and Betty. You see it with Stella making a power play between her and her father, right? So it's just interesting how people use it, how people are corrupted by it, how people are always jockeying for it. Yeah. And how some people submit and fall for it too. So I love the show. It's very well written. I love it.
It is well written.
It is. And I thought that it was interesting too, how Elise knew that she could be putting herself at danger. And especially she would still go through with that after last week's episode. She finally told Margaret the truth. I would think that she would be a little bit more conservative and trying to pursue this stuff with Malcolm. But I mean, she
that's
loves
what I was going to say.
everything.
That's how you know, the heart wants what it wants. And I was going to say, that's why she wanted to put her life on the line and everything, especially because not only is she, is she in love with him, he gave her life by introducing her to her faith. So she that gratitude for him as well.
Yeah, if ride or die was the person,
exactly.
At least.
And she's really beholding to the faith, because Malcolm said you may have to leave the the mosque, just to get away from the heat. And she didn't want anything to do with that. She wants to hang in there. So I like Elise's character. I really do. She's a very strong woman. Very strong.
She is, but she's playing with fire.
Oh, she is. She is.
For sure. Okay, well, like I said, I enjoyed this episode. I think this might have been my favorite episode this season.
I think so.
Yeah, I
really do. I'm trying to think, but I think this one tops it.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed this episode because it came out of left field. I was not expecting Sam to come back up and betray Bumpy like that. So that was a nice curveball. I think that really helped step the episode up a whole lot. Do you guys have any predictions outside of the ones we kind of already stated?
No. Stella's days are numbered. I continue to say that every week.
I agree.
I think the Frenchman, they using him to set up the Italian.
I say the Frenchman is gonna get taken out.
Oh yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, he can't be flip-flopping like that. Between crews, he is really playing with fire, thinking that, I know he has a relationship with the Italians in Italy, but the Italians in America operate by a whole different code. They got their own organization and how they like to do things. Yeah. And apparently, because even the Italians, the families, they were shocked that the Sicilians would work with Black people at all. And so it's very, clearly they operate differently.
Money is money.
Yeah. And that's what Sam was saying. Like, it all comes down to money.
Yeah. Well, my question to you guys, I know we said that Elise has a certain level of protection because she's Bumpy's daughter. Is there any way that you see her getting killed this season in this series?
I don't.
Because I still kind of feel like it's a possibility.
If we're going to be true to the story, no. Because I believe Elise outlived Bumpy, and I think that in real life, she was still viewed as his granddaughter, and people knew her up in New York as such. So she clearly outlived him. So if they're going to stick to the factuals of the stories, Elise. I'm sorry, Margaret.
No, because I'm asking specifically about Elise.
I'm thinking about Margaret. Sorry.
I'm asking. Yeah.
Elise. Wow.
Because this is a dangerous situation, and I know they have Bumpy's protection. She does have Bumpy's protection, but at some point, I don't know. I just feel like it's kind of volatile, and it's a possibility.
Very volatile, yeah. I think that if you're being realistic too, like just speaking in general terms for people in that lifestyle, like it's only a matter of time before somebody close to you takes a hit. And it happens with everybody. And so you can't think that, Bumpy is exempt from that happening. So,
I see her.
I don't know.
I see her being excommunicated before I see her being killed. So, but at what point that happens, I'm not sure. Although she came very close by, trying to change the subject with Captain Omar when he's trying to hit on her and she brings up Malcolm's name. That could be a telltale sign of what might be coming down the pipe for Elise.
Yeah, I'd be more interested. I think she survives it, so I would be wondering what would be her reaction once Malcolm is assassinated, and whether or not, if the show continues, what part of the nation and the reaction do we see on the show?
Yeah, because I doubt that they'll just like kill Malcolm off and then drop that whole storyline involving the nation. And so they have to.
What is Bumpy's reaction? You know, because that was his.
Yeah, I think that's coming very soon too. We're getting closer and closer. And so like in this season, if they're going to 10, we have 2 episodes left. And I'm wondering if they're going to do it before the end of season 2. Because this seems like it is just like right there, like on the edge of happening. So I know I'm gonna be devastated to see. I wonder how they're gonna portray that, because that was devastating.
You know,
so how they choose to show that is going to make a big difference. And you know, like how the audience receives it, and even like just showing, like you said, how Bumpy receives it as well.
You know what was interesting? Did you guys notice that when they showed the clips, the interview clips, they were real Malcolm X clips?
Yes.
The interview, and I was like, wow, those are really.
And that's like, I think shout out to Nigel Thatch, because he plays the heck out of this role. And so the fact that they can flip flop between like actual clips and him, and it's like right on the money. He is playing the heck out of this.
He's killing it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think if you guys don't have anything else to add in terms of predictions, we'll probably close out here. Just want to say thank you guys for watching. Appreciate your viewership each and every week. Please drop down in the comments and let us know what you thought about this episode, and also give us your predictions for, you know, where you see the end of the season leaving off. We're interested to know for sure. Please also make sure that you click the subscribe button, like the video, and click the notification bell so you get alerted whenever we post. We're also on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at The Spot Real Talk, so be sure to give us a follow there. Any last comments before we close out?
Nope, I'm good.
Nothing?
See you next week.
All right. Well, thank you guys again, and we'll see you next week.
Right.
Bye.
Yeah, I'm all in. Brody on the line, I'm tapping in. God out here pulling the strings for me. A girl on the line, she feeling me. Preoccupied by the motivation. Put in the time, pay the entry fee. Bro on the rise, yeah, he kinda nice. Inside of my mind, no one's real as me. Lately, life has been gorgeous. Wake up to clear, my eyes hit recorded. Praise up to God, I ain't chasing no bitch. Swinging the miss, got me hitting these licks. I get the orders, don't get it distorted. Disconnected, I've been cordless, I've been cordial, I've been exploring. I got a whole lot, but somehow I want more of it. Yeah, I went to tour and put on for the soil. Hey, bruh, remember they used to ignore us? Now they dropped me the pin with the cord and they catch me running through the ordinance. Remember we couldn't afford the whip. Pushing and scraping, that shit was so ages.